Warning: the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
This video is made for entertainment purpose only. It doesn't mean to hurt any. And don't take it serious.
Our story starts when Kanji's sister dies of cancer and he vows to find a cure to this deadly disease and starts working towards being a scientist. After 40 years of hard work, he becomes a well-known pharmacist, but due to getting overworked, he ends up taking a nap but gets transported into another world. He opens his eyes to find himself in a completely different world and notices a girl named Lot in front of him. She tells him that he had been struck by lightning a few weeks ago and was in a coma ever since. He suddenly realizes that he must have died in his sleep and has been isekai'd into an alternate world. He tells Lot honestly that he can't remember anything about himself or his past, so she brings a mirror for him. He looks in the mirror and sees that he is now in a different body, a boy named Pharma. She explains that their family had been royal pharmacists for generations and were nearly as important as the king before taking him to the hall and showing him pictures of his parents. She also reveals that his family is insanely skilled in magic as well, which gets Pharma excited and he asks if he could do magic as well. This shocks her to the core as she asks him whether he doesn't remember anything about magic. He shakes his head and she tells him that the main trait of being a noble is the ability to perform magic, and without it, people will consider him a low-born. She explains that he used to be a water magic user and was very good at it, before telling him to try and remember how to do magic. He goes back to his room and sits on the bed, thinking how he can even begin practicing, but thinks about the chemical composition of water, and after thinking about the molecular structure, suddenly he feels something moving and water starts forming from his hands. He quickly rushes to the window and ends up blasting a lot of water in the garden while trying to stop. He is finally able to stop the flow and is exhausted by the end of it. By that time, he tries to think about different molecular compositions and finds out that he can create complex compound things if he knows about their molecular structure. He picks up a book, and even though he had never seen it before, he realizes that everything inside the book is already in his mind, as some of the boy's memories are still with him. After that afternoon, he goes to dinner where his family looks concerned for his well-being apart from a serious-looking man who turns out to be his father. His dad was happy that he was feeling better, but relentlessly started asking him medical questions to check whether his memory is intact or not. His mom tries to tell his dad to chill out, but Pharma tells her that it's okay and answers correctly. His father seems to get satisfied by his answers and tells him that he should restart his magic training from tomorrow itself, and Pharma agrees immediately. The next day, he goes down and meets his teacher, whose name is Elin. She seems suspicious of him and claims that he doesn't look like the Pharma she knew. She is aware about the fact that his memory is fuzzy and tells him that she is his father's top student and his tutor from now on. After that, she asks him whether he remembers magic, to which he replies that he doesn't. She tells him that they are going to have a revision class today and explains to him the classic stuff about how there are a couple of elements, including fire, water, air, and earth, and you can make a bunch of new shit with it. She takes him to the banks and asks him whether he brought his wand. He only remembers that he saw a wand inside of his room on the wall, but thought it was a decorative piece. She sighs and produces her own wand, which she hands her huge wand into his hands and tells him to use it to produce basic water fountain magic. He seems to be confused and says that he doesn't remember how to do it, so she takes the wand out of his hands and goes over to the bank, telling him to look closely, as she is about to demonstrate it once. She simply goes ahead and creates a fountain from her staff, which he is impressed by. She then walks to him and hands the staff over to him, telling him to replicate without even explaining what or how she did it. Anyways, Pharma is a giga-chat and goes over near the bank and ends up producing a fountain big enough to rival my nightly fountains, which shocks her to the core as she falls over. She rushes over to him, checking whether he is okay, and tells him that each person has a set amount of mana that they can use, and she is scared that he ended up using all of his. She rushes back to get a smaller staff out of her bag and tells him to grip it tightly. It turns out that it was some sort of a meter to measure mana, and the wand ends up breaking, which totally shocks her. She tells him that this has never happened in their world before and pulls his sleeve up to see the tattoo that's glowing. Pharma brushes it off and they end up stopping the lessons for the day. On their way back, they end up sample and performs some magical examinations. After that, they move over to the window where they start looking at the queen's horoscope to decide whether she's going to live or die. Wow, what an amazing doctor. They check the stars, shake their heads as they realize that the stars aren't aligning, and talk amongst themselves about how there is no way to save the queen and that she is going to die by tomorrow. Pharma feels bad and starts thinking that he should do something and uses his special ability to check what exactly is causing the queen problems, and is able to find out that the problem is in her lungs and it could be either cancer or tuberculosis. After careful consideration of her symptoms, he is able to narrow it down to AIDS and realizes that in this time period, this disease was incurable, but with future medicine, he can cure the disease. Suddenly, the door opens and a little shit runs into the room crying and goes to the queen, telling her that he doesn't want her to die and asking her never to leave him. She looks extremely sad, and that is when Pharma decides that he can't let her die. He moves forward, bowing in front of her, and asks for her permission to treat her ailment with a new medicine that he developed. All the court people immediately gasp at this, as his own father walks by his side and asks him about this nonsense. Pharma still claims that he can treat the queen, to which his dad scolds him not to speak if he doesn't know what he is dealing with, but the queen stops him, telling him that she will let Pharma try what he wants. He thanks her and rushes out of the court and closes himself inside of a room and jams the door with his ice magic. He starts getting his stuff out of his bag when his father arrives and starts banging on the door, ordering him to open it this very instant, but he tries to concentrate and begins thinking about the compound that he will need to create the medicine. This would be a very complicated one, so he draws the chemical nature of the compound before imagining it and synthesizing it. Before he can do that, however, his father breaks through the door with his own magic and tells him to stop this foolishness. He tells Pharma that the disease is incurable, and he is just going to create more problems and pain for the queen. Pharma replies that the disease is not incurable, and that his father is just dumb, as he then turns around and starts synthesizing his medicine, but his father gets offended before shooting an ice blast at him. Pharma turns around, and by that time, his father already has his wand raised, just like me every morning, and tells him to answer what kind of miracle medicine he is talking about, as without the knowledge that medicine is just poison. Pharma tells his dad to put away his erect wand, but he refuses and shoots more ice blasts at him. Pharma turns around and quickly uses a magic barrier to block the attack, which shocks his father to the core before erecting a giant ice wall in front of him. His father is shell-shocked, as no one can use magic without a wand or without using incantations, and he asks Pharma who he really is, as he is not his son. Pharma has no idea how to explain to his boomer father the concept of Iskase, but his father ends up finding his diary, which is filled with Kama Sutra texts. He asks Pharma where he got this knowledge, and he replies that when he was in a coma, he had a dream, and suddenly he knew everything about medicine and Kama Sutra. But Pharma honestly replies that he has no idea. His father tells him that if he really got revelation from the god himself, then there is nothing he can do, and he puts his wand back into his sheath. Pharma also shows some respect and evaporates the entire wall, shocking his dad once again, as he thought Pharma's element was water. He starts synthesizing the medicine again, and once completed, he takes it into the court again while wearing a face mask. He walks up to the queen and tells her that he has completed the medicine, that the ailment she is suffering with is known as AIDS, and the treatment will be long-term, as she will have to take the medicine every day for at least half a year, asking him what kind of magic this is. He then returns back to his mansion with his father and claims that they should try to talk things out as much as possible. Suddenly, he turns towards Pharma and tells him that he should go out and play rather than engage in useless adult conversations. Pharma realizes that he needs to behave more like a kid and starts yapping like an idiot, saying that he will swim in the sea before running away. He goes down towards the beach when he spots Lot and his younger sister making sandcastles. Both the girls greet him, and then he starts asking him to let her go play in the water, but he tells her that she doesn't know how to swim, and neither does Lot, but Blan immediately grabs his arm and starts begging him to let her play in the water while Lot does the same. He is put in a very tough spot while the two girls both beg him to let them play in the water and promise that they will stay by the edge at all times. He finally agrees to let them dip their toes in water, but tells them not to let themselves get wet. He sits down and remembers that he used to be a really good swimmer in previous life and gets a flashback about how his sister used to beg him to let her play with him in the water, but because she was too young, he always told her that she can't go into water right now, but promised her that he will take her into the ocean and play with her once she becomes 5 years old, but that time never came as tragedy struck and she was taken away from this world, even before she turned 5 and ever had the chance to enjoy the beautiful ocean waves. He returns back to reality and quickly wipes away his tears, but was still brooding when he hears a loud voice and looks up to see that Blan is flowing away at water while Lot screams for help like a total loser. Blan is unable to swim towards the shore, and Pharma immediately runs towards the ocean before jumping in while Ellen tells him to stop as he can get in danger as well, but he doesn't care and follows Blan while Ellen is unable to keep up with the wild current. He keeps swimming only to realize that there's a huge wave against her, which pulls her below the water, so he quickly dives in as well, swimming towards his unconscious sister while remembering her real sister before vowing that she won't let Blan get hurt. He realizes that he can't reach her in time and shouts out in desperation, which suddenly activates his gang sign tattoo, and a huge light is emitted before the water in the entire area vanishes into thin air, leaving Bland on the seafloor, while Pharma looks in astonishment as fishes dance around to find water. Ellen gets up confused and looks around to find Pharma doing his best impression of Moses as he keeps the column of water from falling on top of them, while holding Bland in one arm. He manages to get them out of that situation, and on the beach Bland cries in his arms out of fear while Ellen sits there in complete shock. Pharma consoles Bland and checks whether she took any damage but is relieved to find her safe. Ellen, on the other hand, is unable to comprehend what just happened and asks what he does. Pharma honestly replies that he has no idea what just happened and it might have been one of his water magic abilities, but Ellen replies that no such magic exists. Pharma is shocked to hear that and notices that even Lot seems to be scared of him right now, but he is just happy that he was able to save his sister from imminent death in this life at least, and hugs her tightly. Echidna recalls how it was always her dream to use the Philosopher's Stone to change the demon realm into a place worth living, and she worked hard for that dream and became the Demon Queen. However, now she is left with nothing but despair. Leo suddenly takes off his helmet and tells Echidna that she should know that the Philosopher's Stone is not an all-powerful wish-granting device. Rather, it is a relic from a technologically advanced age and uses a micro-black hole to create unlimited energy. He reveals that no one knows how to use the Philosopher's Stone properly, but it is said that there is a manual that tells everything about it in detail. Even humans have been searching for the manual for a very long time, but they have never found it. Leo walks to Echidna, who has not yet seen his face. She remarks that even if they try to negotiate peace with humans to find the manual together, it will be pointless because they would have to steal the Philosopher's Stone from them in the end. She wants to give up on it now, but Leo tells her that there are 2 Philosopher's Stones in the human world, and she only needs one. Echidna suddenly sees hope, but she has not yet looked at Leo, so he tells her to cut the crap and turn toward him. As soon as she turns towards him, she is left speechless to see him instead of the Black Knight. Leo snaps his fingers and removes the armor too. He first apologizes to Echidna for lying to her all this time because there was no other way he could help her, and then tells her that it is an emergency, so he can't keep on acting any longer. Leo then reveals that the true reason he joined the demon army was to see if the Demon Queen was worthy of wielding the Philosopher's Stone. He claims that if she were unworthy, he would have left immediately, but after he talked with her over dinner and wine, he learned she was indeed worthy. He believes that Echidna has the ability to bring order to the demon realm, and he will give her the Philosopher's Stone to do that, as it will also bring everlasting peace to humanity. Echidna, on the other hand, is processing everything like she has Windows XP installed in her brain. She takes her sweet time to realize that Leo was the Black Knight all along and then starts laughing maniacally that she got played. Leo tells her to upgrade her operating system to understand him quickly, but instead of hearing him out, Echidna attacks him with a powerful fire spell. Later, Leo tells her to learn some new tricks because he's getting bored and she always attacks him in the same manner. Echidna is in no mood to hear him out, but he insists that there was no other way for him to judge her other than by lying on his resume. He says that if he hadn't changed his identity, she wouldn't have talked freely with him, and Echidna says he is damn right. She tells him to go eat some poisonous mushrooms and shit himself to death, and her generals are amazed because she has a flair for visuals. More than the fact that he fooled her, Echidna is furious that Leo was unharmed even after taking her attack point blank. Suddenly, Lily and Shutina cling to her and tell her that Leo has really helped them out. Edward and Mearns also agree, and as everyone keeps praising him, she finally agrees to hear him out. Leo then tells them that the second Philosopher's Stone is hidden somewhere in the mountains next to them, and a powerful guardian is protecting it. Echidna thinks that if Leo thinks the guardian is powerful, he might be really troublesome. But her generals assure her that they can beat anyone with their teamwork. With that, Leo leads the Demon Queen and the 4 generals to the snow-capped mountains. Echidna still doesn't trust him completely and asks him if he is sure that the second Philosopher's Stone is here. He assures her that it will be there, and then the 2 of them start throwing playground insults at each other. Leo tells the others that the stone is right at the peak in front of them. Echidna walks straight to the peak, and Leo walks beside her, saying that he wants to talk to her about something. He declares that the Philosopher's Stone has been his big project for all these years, and now that he is planning to pass it on to the demons, he wants them to listen to everything he has to say. He first tells Echidna that the stone is not a magical item that can make land fertile overnight or turn water into wine, but an energy generator. He wants the demons to negotiate peace with humans after they have the stone, and then the 2 races should work together to find the manual to use the Philosopher's Stone. Echidna remarks that until a little while ago, she thought it was impossible to achieve true peace with humans, but thanks to Leo, she knows better now. He tells her that even if peace is possible, it won't come easy, and she declares that she is the strongest demon queen in history and that she will make things work somehow. Leo praises her determination, but Echidna feels that he looks oddly sad for some reason. However, he quickly returns to his normal self and says that the strongest demon queen isn't even a match for him. They enter a snow fight with each other, and the generals are happy that they are getting along so well. After that, Echidna asks Leo how he knows about the mechanical civilization, because that was about 3,000 years ago when the demons invaded the human realm for the first time. He simply tells her that he was born then, and Echidna's brain overheats as she tries to process this information. Leo elaborates and reveals the truth about him being an artificial bioweapon made to fight against demons. He tells her that his specialty is to improve himself in response to the challenges he faces and copy any skills he sees. Leo declares that he is the result of 3,000 years of hard-won experience, and Echidna finally realizes that she has not even scratched the surface of his true strength. She remarks that if she knew about his true strength before, she would have never waged war against humanity, but he jokes that they would not have met in that case. Leo then reveals that all the other artificial heroes died in the war, and only he survived. He has only one objective, which is to protect humanity, and for the longest time, it was his only reason to exist. Leo says that he protected the world over and over again, but in times of peace, he wished for more dangers so that humanity would need his help. He could not enjoy the hard-earned peace, and thought that his existence had become unnecessary. He believes that now he is just holding humanity back by protecting them from everything, because even without his help, they will manage to survive and prosper. He declares that he is losing his mind thinking about it, and if it continues, he might start his villain arc and destroy the world just so that he can save it. He asks Echidna if she knows what she should do in that case, and before she can say anything, the Elite Four come there. They enjoy the scenery for a while and then ask where the powerful Guardian is. Leo walks ahead and then declares that there is no Guardian, and he has the Philosopher's Stone. He explains that it is situated in his heart and supplies him with infinite power, and if they want it, they must take it from his cold, dead body. Everyone is aghast as they hear this, and then Leo introduces himself to them one final time. He says he is the former hero who defeated the demon queen Echidna, and now he will truly destroy humanity if he is not stopped. No one understands what is happening, and as Shutina tries to approach him, Leo shoots a warning attack to keep her away. He then tells Echidna that if she wants to obtain the Philosopher's Stone and bring peace to both demons and humans, she must stop him. He attacks the demons suddenly, and then tells them to become the heroes who save humanity this time. Echidna suddenly recalls the first time she heard about the hero in her childhood. A bard sang songs of the terrifying hero whose power could not be put into words. He defeated the first demon king, who was a great fighter, and the second demon king, who was a genius wizard. The bard told Echidna that if she ever became the demon queen, she should never engage the hero in combat because that would be the last stunt she would ever pull. The young Echidna was a cocky brat, and she declared that the hero was just a human at the end of the day, and if she met him, she would give him a good old spanking. Now that she looks at the formidable hero in front of her, who has become the very thing he swore to destroy, she wonders how to stop him. No one is able to utter a single word until Echidna asks Leo what the hell he means, and in response, he suddenly attacks her, and if he woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. He sends her crashing through the ground, and then with a powerful strike, he shatters the rock behind her, but luckily, Echidna manages to dodge the attack. Leo then mumbles that he was created to save the world, and if the humans don't need him anymore, he will force them to reconsider by wreaking havoc on them. He sends a flying slash towards Lily, who dodges his attack. Leo laughs like a menace before sending a force wave to knock Echidna off her feet. He attacks her, but Edvard comes to his rescue at the right time and blocks his sword. He pushes Leo back and attacks him. He pushes Edvard back and tries to stab him, but Shutina uses powerful binding magic and restricts his movements by surrounding him in a dark cage. She compresses the cage to crush him, but Leo breaks free, kicks Edvard in the gut, and sends him flying. He then turns to Shutina. He sends tens of magic arrows towards Shutina, but Edvard shields her by taking them all on his back. The arrows explode, dealing him a ton of damage, and Leo attacks him again quickly. This time, Echidna arrives to stop him and take him away. He keeps on attacking Echidna as he complains that he is tired of his ability. He suddenly attacks Lily with 2 magic arrows. She lashes out at Leo, saying this opponent. She angrily charges at him and exchanges powerful blows that create massive shockwaves. Level spell and shoots a lightning arrow at Leo. He takes a direct hit, but even that is not enough to do any damage to him. That he will stop him from going to the dark side as his friend. He deals a powerful blow and then breathes fire at Leo, who easily dodges his attacks. Edward then leaps at him with another powerful attack, but Leo holds his sword with his bare hands before using an ice spell to freeze his sword and his body. The Dragon General says it is not enough to take him down, and then Leo suddenly uses a powerful fire spell at him. The sudden change in temperature weakens his scales, and then Leo sends him crashing into a nearby rock. Echidna attacks him with her sword and then waits for Shutina to trap Leo in a rocky prison, before hitting him with her powerful fire spell. However, neither Leo nor his clothes have taken the slightest bit of damage, and Echidna realizes that they are screwed. She is unable to move as he walks towards her, but then suddenly, Murns attacks Leo with a sure kill technique, but he dodges it with his Ultra Instinct, suffering only a minor cut. With the trap assassin by her side, Echidna gains some confidence and tells him to support her as she charges at Leo. She keeps attacking him, and while Leo has all his attention on her, Murns attacks him from behind. Leo blocks his attack too, and then the trap asks him what he truly wants. Leo keeps on destroying his clones, and then Murns attacks him from behind, but the moment he touches him, he freezes and falls to the ground. Leo then laughs, saying that 3 of the heroes are already down. He declares that he will destroy the world so that it needs to be saved again, and just then Lily comes charging at him in her white wolf form. He blocks her with one arm and says that she is finally ready to fight. Lily cries that she doesn't want to fight him, but to her, Leo looks so sad that she wants to help him by stopping him. Seeing her cry like that hits Leo where it hurts, and he tells Lily to try and stop him if she wants. She charges at him, but then suddenly, she gets Pikachud and knocked out. At this moment, Echidna realizes that Leo is a monster who is stronger than all of humanity and Demonkin put together. She fears that he will really kill her and her friends first, then the humans, and then the demons too. Echidna decides that she cannot falter any longer and decides to use her ultimate spell. And then she begins working on her spell. She knows the chances are slim. Gathers her magic, she recalls it. Well, she can't be so cocky now as she chants the ultimate spell to take down the hero. Meanwhile, Shutina is fighting Leo, and anything he wants to destroy is himself, because he is afraid that there might come a day when the world doesn't really need him. She attacks him with a fireball, and Leo replies with the same move, causing a huge explosion. Anymore and sends her flying with a punch. It's about to finish her with some hellfire, when suddenly he sees a pillar of light rising from another direction. He turns around and finds that Echidna has completed her special spell. This spell, Anti-Leo, and Echidna shoots the special spell at Leo to defeat him. Echidna thinks that she has wasted the chance, creates a sad smile, and mumbles a thank you before the spell hits him. Exactly that, and it all led him to this moment where Echidna's ultimate spell hits him. Leo screams in pain as the spell binds his power. Leo feels that his body is too heavy to move, and all the skills he acquired during his long life have suddenly become useless. He feels like he is the weak bioweapon in the hero binding spell. She felt something was off. However, the spell was created hundreds of years ago, and she didn't think any human could live that long. When she learned that Leo had lived for 3,000 years, she realized that her first thought was right. She pities the hero who has no friends, no family, and no place to call home. They exchange heartfelt gazes, and Leo admits that in his long years living as a loner, the only thing he wanted was to be acknowledged as a person and not just as a hero. Even now, he doesn't want to die, but he wants someone to save him from his lonesome fate. Leo is glad that he chose Echidna and the Elite Four as his final companions, and he trusts that they will be able to bring peace to everyone one day. He had fun working with them, and he wants to enjoy their company some more, and more than anything, he still wants to live. In the meantime, the 4 generals have gotten back up on their feet, and Echidna commands them to fulfill Leo's last wishes and give him the death a hero deserves. Edward slashes his chest first, and then Murns throws his knives at him. Lily claws him over his wounds, and Shutina hits him with a powerful lightning spell. Leo realizes that he's able to kill him, and he smiles as he falls to the ground. Everyone is sad to lose him, and Echidna falls to her knees before she screams in despair. Despite taking so much damage in his weakened state, Leo has still not kicked the bucket yet.